Good evening. We are live here on another Thursday night jam with RCJesus and Mr. SASquatch. It's Chris from Scale Audio Solutions. I'm Nick, owner of Remote Control Hobbies Orlando, also known as RCJesus. And tonight we were supposed to be, as you can see, I'm home in Orlando still. We were supposed to be focusing on planes tonight and stuff from up in Michigan, where I've got all that stuff stashed because I have the room to fly it all right out the front door. But I've had some travel issues the last couple days, which made me think tonight, well, ding, there's a great topic because people ask me all the time, how do you fly with this stuff? How do you travel? How do you pack all this stuff? That's perfect. I'll give you some tips and tricks, mostly on flying with RC stuff, what you can and can't do, how you have to do it, what I've found works over the years, and just some general travel tips because while I've had a frustrating couple of days, it's worked out to where I've made a fortune in airline stuff. So it all works out. You got to have the right attitude. Attitude is everything. Have you ever flown with RC stuff, Chris?
No.
Okay. It's not very hard at all. Number one thing I'll recommend before we get into flying is just traveling in general is radio cases. Like if you've got a nice radio, get a nice radio case for it. They've got solid latches. You can lock them if you want to, filled with foam. And they're cut out to fit your radio, all kinds of stuff. You can make them. Yep. On a little case like that from Home Depot, Pelican cases. These Futaba ones are pretty expensive. This is another just generic RC radio case you can get. The radio's not in here for this right now. Oh yeah, it is. Shit, I forgot. This holds the DX9 foam, and it's pull and plug, little squares that you just pull out, and you make it fit, and voila, there you go. This holds my DX9 and the charger for the lithium-ion battery in it. And these are worth their weight in gold because radios break really easily. Potentiometers, and triggers, and steering wheels, the sticks on stick radios, switches, dials, all of that stuff gets jacked up really easily. If you've got a digital computer screen on it, like most decent radios do nowadays, hit that's shattered, goes black, or you can only read half or none of it. I highly recommend radio cases. You can do something like these, or like how Chris has his set up, that's $20 to $40 and you're good to go.
This is a Harbor Freight, like Pelican knockoff.
Yep.
It's the same thing. It's just full foam.
Yep. And it's probably, that looks like it's got the O-ring, so that's weatherproof and all that too, right?
Yep. Waterproof. Yeah.
Yep. So, and then you just cut it out or pulled it out to fit how you wanted, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the full foam. It's got one layer, 2 layers of pull foam, bottom layer.
Yeah.
I mean, these are good just to have anyway to keep your
Yeah, they're handy for all kinds of stuff. They come in a bunch of different sizes.
Yeah.
And I have one I'll show later that I have set up just to hold radio and truck and battery and charger and everything. But that's highly recommended. If you have RTR radios and whatnot, is it really worth doing? Maybe, but it kind of also gives you an excuse to break the crappy RTR radio and get a legit radio that will perform much better and control at least 10 models, if not an infinite amount. I highly recommend upgraded radios. Even $100 one is far superior to what comes out of the box in RTRs. But I digress. So get yourself a radio case for traveling in the car, to and from events, for cross country to and from events, whether it's next door or 1,000 miles away for flying. These things are where it's at because you have total peace of mind. And they're easy to pack. They're easy to carry if you're going to carry it on, whatever. My next up item is in my bedroom. I screwed up on that one, so hold on. That is packed full of stuff because I'm traveling right now. A good backpack is very handy when flying or driving. It's easy to get in and out of the hotel. You pack it with your essentials. This is a carry-all backpack. This is actually a prototype of the very first one. There's now 1 or 2 other companies out there making similar deals. This has, yep, and that's the V2. That's the larger one. You've got provisions to hook your vehicles to these things. You wrap your rear tires and axle around here, clip these on your front axle. It's designed, it holds it comfortably on your back and just hangs. I travel with this thing everywhere. Once I got this became my favorite travel bag, whether I'm doing RC traveling or not. Usually there's something RC going on when I'm traveling, but these things are a lifesaver. I've got a little pocket in the front that I keep like AA batteries and tissues in case it's allergy season, or I get a cut that won't stop bleeding, whatever. I keep all my headphones and electronics in the smaller front pocket here. The unzips. Then I've got a middle pocket here, which right now is full of magazines and a shop manual for a 95 Lincoln Town Car. And then back here, I keep other papers, tools. My laptop will go in here this trip, and actually house shoes in here for when I'm up there. The RC ones generally come with the patch, the Velcro, so you can put all your cool patches you get at events and stuff, and you can hang the stuff off the zippers. My Pro Line by the Fire stuff, a Super Dad thing. My daughter got me all the patches, and I beat the crap out of this thing for, what's it been, 3 or 4 years now? I feel like, at least. It's been very, very handy. I use it everywhere. The straps are comfy. Now this version's long gone. They make the bigger one. Oop, bumping my nice expensive setup professional here. Like Chris has, which is significantly larger. I actually haven't upgraded because that smaller one fits my lifestyle perfectly.
This one too,
There's also little sling packs you can get. They're very handy for traveling, flying, or driving. Like I said, all my essentials basically that I'm gonna need handy while I'm traveling on the plane, whatever, or at hotels, go into my carry-all backpack. And then when I'm just regular traveling, laptop, magazines, headphones, batteries, whatever I might need goes in there as well. Any magazines or work I'm gonna do, all in there. Super comfy, easy to carry, easy to get through TSA. Another good thing to know is having that's handy, because you need to keep your lithium batteries on you when you are flying. You cannot check your lithium batteries. And if you're not used to flying but are considering it, a check bag is what goes under the plane in the storage down there. And you can't put it there because something goes on with your battery and it starts to smoke or puff or go up in flames at the worst part. There's nothing you can do. It's just going to sit there and burn a hole through the bottom of the plane, and fall to the ground on fire. So they require you to bring them on, because that way, if something happens, you can throw them in the coffee carafe, find some way to contain or extinguish them so that everyone on the plane doesn't have potential death, right? People ask, I didn't look it up. I'm incredibly tired and worn out the last couple of days. Travel, not travel. There is a limit, a watt hour, I believe it was, limit, which I looked up ages ago. The best of my knowledge, it hasn't changed. And they give you the math to do it. And you had to have something like, I think it was a 12S 4800 milliamp hour or bigger battery to break that limit. And that's a massive battery, right? The only guys that would be carrying that are giant scale plane guys or like 700 class heli guys. So for us, mostly surface guys or smaller air stuff, you can carry a couple 6S's, a bunch of 3S's and 2S's, whatever, no problem. I've done it dozens and dozens of times at this point. I basically always fly with RC stuff, and I fly quite a bit every year. Never had an issue. One time, oh my God, maybe 8 or 9 years ago, I was flying with a little Blade 180 or MCPX might have been. And those helicopters came in a convenient, nice little box you could keep with molded foam and a handle on it. So I was just flying through, just carrying this thing, right? I had an old JanSport backpack on at the time and carrying that. And that time they did make me open the box, show it to them, turn the radio on, plug the battery into the heli, power it up, but sometimes, when they check this RC stuff out, I think it's more of an interest on the TSA agent's part and checking it out than it really is like, oh, he might be a terrorist and blah, blah, blah. We gotta go through this. Every time I've ever had it happen, I think it's usually just the TSA agents like, what the hell is that? Or, oh, that's cool. I need to see it.
I did look up the battery thing.
Yeah.
It's 100 watts. So you can get close. Like if you had a big 4-cell like plane or heli pack, you can start flirting.
It takes like a 12S 5000 about.
Well, I looked up, so 4S is what, 16 volts?
Yeah.
So 16 volts.
It's a lot of power.
So a 4S 6000 milliamp would be close.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe they have lowered it then, because it was like a 12S almost 5000 milliamp when we did the math.
Watts is volts times amps. So
yeah,
if you have a 16 volt, so you divide 100 by 16, you only have 6.25 amps.
So they have it as 100 watts. It was watt hours, I think, back in the day.
Oh, it is watt hours.
Which is a much different calculation. It's
watt hours, amp hours. It crosses over.
I don't think it was that simple. We had to look up a formula to do it.
Really?
But anyways, I travel with them all the time. I've traveled with half a dozen batteries on me before. No one cares. The only time that they ever made me power stuff and look at was the helicopter. I've had them pull the backpack aside and just kind of, okay, yep, and send it on before, and that's it. Usually they don't even blink. They don't care. And that's flying with like a radio box that I'm carrying and a backpack with a laptop and all kinds of wires and cords and crap in it and batteries and a truck strapped to it. And still, they rarely care. It's really easy to fly with this stuff. So you just have to know those fuel rules. Lithium's always our carry-on. They got to be in a backpack, duffel bag, briefcase, something you're carrying on the plane. Everything else you can check or you can carry it on. I try and carry as much on as I can because then it is in my hands, getting carried in my control the whole time. I'm not worrying about it being outside in the weather, sitting on the tarmac, getting incredibly hot or cold, being in any rain or snow that might, potentially leak in somehow and mess with stuff. Them chucking it on the plane and breaking it. So my first option is always to carry everything on. And most of the time you need one rig, a charger, a couple batteries, and you're good to go with your radio. Sorry, my allergies are killing me. And that's how I travel probably 60-80% of the time. The other part of the time is you start getting into stuff like this. And this is from Common Sense. It's like, going to Harbor Freight, whatever. It's a knockoff Pelican. It's pretty good size. It's not massive. I can kind of squeeze this into carry-on. Sometimes they'll let me. Usually I check it. This is, it's all weatherproof. It opens up and it's all pick and pull foam. And I made spot in there. It's kind of a disaster right now, but there's a spot for radio to fit, charger to fit, batteries if I'm carrying it on, tools if I'm checking it. There's the radio slot. There goes the foam on the lid. It fits down in here. I have the extra foam and stuff to pack on top. It fits a marlin crawler, TF2s, Galandes, all of that really easily. And it's secure, right? When you pack the foam custom to it and have extra padding in it, they can throw this thing around, be on it all they want. Your radio, your charger, your truck, it's going to come out just fine. I've never had an issue. The next thing is just a more standard suitcase. This is just a Samsonite hard case, roller suitcase with the handle that pulls out, and all that good stuff.
Sean's got some travel woes for you here in the chat too.
Hey, buddy.
He can relate to you.
Just landed in NY for the weekend. NY planes have been screwing me all week because all my flights are coming from NY and late, causing me not to be able to get to my connections on time. So to hell with New York airports. I got an empty airport and ended up making a video of a TF2. Yeah, you can drive it around. No one's really gonna care.
I want to see that driving around the carousel with a TF2. I want to see that.
Yeah. So anyways, that Samsonite, the good luggage isn't cheap. I think that thing was $200 or $250. But after 30 years, my old soft-sided suitcase finally broke and gave out. So I picked that up because it was the right size. It was the max check size for all the airlines, right? So it's as big as I can get without going oversized. It had the hard case outside, a bunch of nice flip and storage areas inside, which works great. When it flips open in a clamshell, I usually use one side for clothes, toiletries, shoes, whatever, all that stuff, and another side for the RC stuff, parts, wheels and tires, all that kind of crap on this side. It folds up, good to go. There's a divider in the middle that keeps them separate. And I've flown with the bulldozer in there. This one, not the big D10. I've flown with my road grader, which is at the shop in there. The trucks in there, anything Lexan body, like a comp rig, you can check, no problem. Because a comp rig is Lexan body, it's designed to take a beating. You're going to be fine. But I even travel with the dollhouse, super scale stuff that way. You just pack accordingly. Your clothes make great packing material in that situation. You want the truck to be clean, obviously, if you're going to be packing your clothes around it. But those are ways that I do it all the time. And again, I do this probably half a dozen to a dozen times a year for many years now. It's not a problem. Do you ever have any issues flying with RC stuff, Sean? I bet you do it too. I've never had any problems, aside from the mask me stuff a couple times. I've never gotten out RC stuff and used it in the airport before, but I have, Sean, like Sean said, I have other friends that have done it, sitting there with a drift car buzzing around, or I've seen them with like micros, crawling around and all kinds of little crap they can find in planter boxes and stuff. Having a good time. Most people know if you're traveling with RC stuff, you're probably generally a dork and no threat. You're just trying to get somewhere and have some fun, play with toys. So no one gives a shit. And it's easy. So I know we don't have a lot of people in here tonight, but if anyone has any questions on this stuff, a lot of this applies to traveling on the road. A lot of the same rules can apply. It's handy, even if you're in your car or whatever, it would be handy to have a nice suitcase or a Pelican style case or whatever to pack your stuff in, because getting in and out of the hotel where you're staying or the camper or your tent or whatever is much easier. Packing it and unpacking it when you're getting ready to leave, when you're coming home, unpacking is the worst because you're exhausted and tired and nothing's packed as nice as when you left. Is still advisable. Not necessary, because you can just throw crap in there and you're fine. I do kind of a mix. I have stuff packed in suitcases and whatnot, and then boxes and trucks stacked everywhere. But when I travel, it's a little different than the average ordinary guy traveling. When you're a vendor or a sponsor or whatever, you tend to bring more stuff and be responsible for more things. So it makes a little more of a tight fit in the car on road trips. Yeah, I don't know. Some other quick travel tips. Have you flown much, Chris?
A little bit, mostly just West Coast stuff.
Okay. I've been flying since I was born. I've been all over the world. I started flying around the world by myself when I was like 12 years old. It's a lot of people, if you don't fly, here's some flying tips and tricks. It's very easy, very fast, and relatively cheap if you book at the right times and fly the right airlines. I always fly Delta now because 99% of the time they're totally reliable, very comfortable. It's worth the little bit extra in airfare for me because I get to check a bag for free. There's games you can play, like I have an Amex Sky Miles reserve card. And when I spend so much money on that each year, it puts me at like platinum level status. So I get into the Sky Clubs for free. So on the layover, I can hang out with power and free Wi-Fi and drinks and food. It's all free. And you can go in there if you're not one of the members. It's just $25 a head to get in. If it's just pretty cheap if you're going to be there 2-3 hours, just for the fact you have power, Wi-Fi, and food. Because if you've ever flown, things in the airport are expensive. It's $4 or $5 for a bottle of water, kind of crap. $10 for a burger. So it racks up. That $25 is a fair price. That's a great trick. Is if you got time, stay at the Sky Clubs. And let's see what else. Book your flights about 50 days ahead of time. that will be generally around the cheapest you're going to find it, whether it's during holidays or off season or whatever. 50 days ahead of time is what you want to do. And I've tested this for years. It still holds true. If you book 3 months out, you're going to pay a lot more than if you book 50 days out. If you book 2 weeks out, you're going to pay a lot more. There is just a cutoff there in the way they set up their system, that's your cheapest time to buy tickets. Look for layovers that are at least an hour. If you have connecting flights and you can't get direct flight, a direct flight is always best. It will usually cost you a little more. It is worth it because you have no chance of getting stuck somewhere, and much less can go wrong. You're just boom, boom, and you're done. Makes for a very quick, easy day. If you have to make connections, shoot for at least an hour, preferably an hour and a half or 2 hours. If you're a real patient person and not burned out on airports and stuff like I am, 3 hours is probably a great cushion to have. I've been stuck in Orlando for 2 days because, like I was saying to Sean, for the last 2 days, I've been supposed to fly out at 4:30 and make a connecting flight that leaves at 9:15 in Detroit to land at my final airport in Michigan. Well, yesterday they flew in from LaGuardia and the plane had issues. And they said, oh, we're delayed for a bit. We've got some maintenance to do. We'll be taking off at, 5 o'clock instead of 4:30. Oh, no problem. I got an hour and 15 minutes. I know the Detroit airport. I can make my connection. No problem. Then they came on and said, well, it's a bigger problem than we thought. It'll be 11 p.m. I'm out. My day is shot. I'm not flying to Detroit just to get stuck in a hotel, which the airline will pay for, but I don't want to deal with that. I'll stay home and comfortable and not waste my day. Rest of my day sitting in the airport dealing with all that bullshit. So when I was at the help desk, they came back and said, well, we actually got a second plane. So you guys will be leaving at 6:20, but 6:20 put me into Detroit at 9. The flight takes off at 9:15, which means the doors are closed by 10 minutes before that. Now, I have no way I was running a half mile through the airport from one side to the other in that amount of time. So I rescheduled for today. Well, today, coming from New York, because I had an issue. I don't know what happened. Fortunately, I got the notification right as I was walking out the door, loading up the car to go to the airport again on my Delta app, that something happened. It was delayed coming out of New York. So we were delayed till 7:30, a 3-hour delay. I don't know what was happening. So I just go back inside, unpack my shit, relax, call Delta, and you will catch more. You catch more whatever. You catch more stuff with honey than vinegar, right? I wasn't the last 2 days that I'm dealing with the customer service people. I wasn't being an asshole. I wasn't cursing them out. I wasn't fuck Delta, fuck this, fuck that. Yesterday I was pretty cool. Shit happens. It's a holiday weekend. The plane had something go wrong. That's out of their hands. No one can control that shit, right? It's life. So be it. Fuck it. Today I was pretty pissed. So I let myself cool off for 15 minutes or so, burned a little bit, and then called and explained to the woman, look, I know this isn't your fault, but I'm really fucking pissed off right now. I'm not going to take it out on you. I don't want to yell. I don't want to be crazy, but my frustration level is at the max. The amount of frustration, time, energy, bullshit you cost me in the last 2 days is a big deal. She was more than amenable, perfectly cool, got me scheduled instead of scheduling the flight tomorrow. That's been this afternoon flight. Because of the risk, she was actually saying it's only 59% on time rate. I've worked here for years and I've never seen a rate that low on the flights. So there's something with that route that always goes to hell in the afternoon that they need to fix. And she told me, she's like, well, write Delta a note and that will go through to higher ups and get forwarded out and it may get fixed. So I will take care of that anyways. But she got me booked for, unfortunately, it's 8:20 in the morning tomorrow. So I'm going to be up at like 5 in the morning. Thankfully, I can sleep in that late because I don't live far from the airport. It's 20 minutes. So it's an easy trip. This would have been much more of a pain in the ass if I was driving 2 or 3 hours each way to the airport. I'd have been real pissed because then you're spending half your day in the car. But anyways, so I get through all this. I'm talking to her. And now, because I have the reserve Amex card and all that, I travel on platinum level. So I get free upgrades and the free Sky Club entry and all that. I always book economy. I almost always fly Comfort Plus or first class for free. Generally Comfort Plus, but once in a while first class. Well, now for the next year, every flight I book, I get to book economy and it will be first class for free. I'll pay the $300 for the economy ticket, but I will get a $1,500 first class ticket and sit in first class and be comfortable. If you're in the Delta One, it's like a little miniature studio apartment. You kick back and you got a 30-inch TV in front of you and your own little area and nooks, and it's way more comfortable. Not worth the money to me at all, but for free, fuck yeah, I'm going first class. So my daughter and I get to fly first class now for the next year, and I get 2 free round trips to wherever I want. So it was very inconvenient. It was annoying, but because I was nice, because I play the game of having the card and being a Sky Miles member and all that, and always flying Delta, little tricks like that, you get a lot of perks and bonuses, and they will take really good care of you when they fuck up. And the last 2 days with all the first class stuff and traveling I do, the 2 free round trips, I probably made $15,000. Right. The last 2 days, I probably made $15,000 in credit with Delta. So I'm okay with that, because there's nothing, if I was missing graduation or funeral or God knows what, I would not be nearly as cool, right? I've been like, no, you have to get me there right now. And they looked today for me with United and American. Everyone was booked or there wasn't availability. And they will do that too. They'll put you on other airlines in desperate situations if you've got something pressing like that. And you walk up and you explain what's going on. You're cool with them. You let them know you're frustrated. You let them know you're not happy, but don't be an asshole, because then you won't get dick. And lots of these companies, hotels, airlines, a lot of these kind of companies, they keep tabs on you. You have a file about you. So when they go to help and ask for your name and look it up, it will say, hey, this dude's always a cocksucker. Fuck him. Because you pissed everybody off, and they keep knowing it. Or they'll be like, very pleasant experience, always leaves the room clean, always does this. And then you get all kinds of favoritism. So as general in life, attitude is everything. Be a good person. Don't be a dick. It pays off. Karma comes back. So these are just things that happen when you travel, and how to travel and make the best of it and get free shit if things go wrong. I got meal vouchers, $15 meal voucher each day that I could use on water, food, whatever. So I just go buy a bunch of waters and chocolate milks, whatever, max it out. And all right, got some free stuff out of that. And it comes around, goes around. Reckless. Don't be a dick. Simple shit. Exactly. Right. Life's pretty easy, but people like to make it hard. So if you've ever thought about flying and you're intimidated about it, it's not that hard to do. If it's your first time flying, show up 2.5 hours before your flight's supposed to leave. I literally show up so that when I'm walking to the gate is when they're about to board. But that's because I'm a risk taker. I'm willing to take the risk of potentially getting stuck in traffic and missing a flight once every year or two, because I've spent so much time in airports in my life that I'm not sitting there for 2 or 3 hours. But when you're new, get there 2.5 hours beforehand, 3 hours if it's international. That gives you loads of time to figure out how to find the terminals and read the placards and get any help you may need. If you're checking bags and you've got sky caps outside of the airport where you're getting dropped off, always use the sky caps. They'll check you in like that. You give them like a $5 tip. Shit gets right in the plane. You avoid the lines in at the Delta or American or United or Spirit or whatever counters. Definitely a way to go. That's a good tip. Always use the sky caps. Be chill. Be prepared that things are going to be more expensive. You can't bring any liquids through security. So don't try and think you're going to bring a hydro flask or a big bottle of water to try and save money, stuff like that. You're not. You're at their mercy. Once you go through TSA, you're screwed. You can have snacks, chips, muffins, shit like that, whatever. No one cares. Fruit and sometimes things like that, if you're going international, going to be questionable because of custom stuff and transporting potential bugs, blah, blah, blah. I don't think there's anything else. When is your
9 minutes before flights?
adventure? Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I'll be doing in the morning. I should be getting up probably at 3 or 4, to get a shower and repack my computer and cords and everything away and get in the car and be a good traveler and be there 2.5 hours before my flight. Fuck that. I'm getting up at 5, hang out, take a shower, get around, leave at 6:30, get to the parking at 6:50. The shuttle bus will let me at the airport 5 to 7 or 5 after 7. I'll be at the gate probably 7:40, and it starts to board at 7:45, I think. So it'll be golden. I did go early yesterday because I didn't have time to eat lunch, and I wasn't gonna have time to stop anywhere for lunch without really pushing it. So I was like, I'll just head out a little earlier than normal, go to Sky Club, and I had some badass Chipotle chicken, lime Chipotle chicken, and free Cokes, and cookies, and just hung out and got on Facebook till they banned me for 24 hours for being too active and all that good stuff. Again, it's all in your attitude, man. Life's easy, shit happens, deal with it. If you're chill, people are usually chill around you and things work out. You got anything to add from your experiences driving and traveling and whatnot places?
No, not really. I mean, just having, like you said, having good containers for everything. Just keep it safe, keep it stored, organized. So, yeah. And I worked in customer service. So yeah, if you come off like an ass, you're going to get treated like an ass.
Yep.
That's what it is. And, if you just let them know, hey, I'm frustrated, this is what's going on, they'll empathize with you and they'll do what they can. Like,
yep, that's their job. It's not their job to deal with a dick. It's their job to help people.
Right, exactly. So if you just, it's like you said, it's not their fault, someone else's fault, but it's their job to fix it.
Yep. And that's what I got to BSing with the Delta customer service lady today, and she's like, 59%. She's like, that makes me just as mad as you. She's like, that means that particular flight, I'm going to get issues and calls from pissed off people all the time, that now I have to deal with pissed off people that got screwed. She's like, so it's a pain in my ass when Delta does that too. And I started laughing. I'm like, yeah, I totally get it. But she was very happy that, I was pissed. I was annoyed, but I wasn't yelling at her. I wasn't screaming at her. I was cool. I was patient, letting her try and figure things out. And she explained it. I was like, okay, thank you. Please and thank yous go a long ways. A lot of people don't hear that
too. You get some people that are nice, but then they just you tell them what you can do for them, and they're like, "That's it." Be reasonable with what you're getting too. Like if they're they give you first class for a year, and then 2 round trip tickets, and you're like, "Is that it?" Well, that's not going to help at all.
Yeah, no, because then it's marked in your file. Oh, we took care of him, and then he was still a greedy asshole.
Exactly. Yeah.
So just do the bare minimum, because either way, he's going to be pissed.
Yeah, don't sit and beg for more. Like, if you get it, if it's reasonable, if it's like, oh, we'll give you a cookie next time you come in. Well, then say something.
Fuck your cookie.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, be reasonable. That's the other side of it too. If you're reasonable, they're cool. They'll take care of you. So
yeah. Life is definitely too short. Yeah, you put yourself in their shoes, and then I'm sure 80% of the people they're dealing with are dicks. I've been in retail long enough that I know a lot of people are dicks, and they're very demanding and very entitled nowadays.
If you're that one guy that's not a dick, you make their day better. So
you stand out as a shining star. If that guy was cool, I'm gonna do absolutely everything I'm allowed to help him to the max level, just because he was cool. My rental car people were cool, right? Because I've had to call and readjust my rental car and explain that. And I haven't gotten any cancellation fees or anything because it's out of my hands, right? And I give them flight numbers and they can see that. Oh, yeah. Today the lady was, I'm sorry, 2 days in a row you've had to deal with it. That sucks. I'd be going crazy, Yeah, such is life. It's a holiday weekend. Shit happens. I'm not very happy that I'm going to be driving and flying tomorrow because it's going to be crazy busy.
Yeah.
Memorial Day and Thanksgiving are both 2 huge ones, but at least I'm leaving Orlando early. Detroit, I'm not there that long. Yeah, right. Fingers crossed. I better not count my chickens, but 3rd time's the charm too now, right? So I got that going for me. And I'll still have majority of the day. I'll be up to the farm by 2:00, so I'll lose half a day, but it is what it is. So yeah, it was minimal night in here for comments and questions, but that's what it takes to fly. Some tips and tricks for flying with stuff. It's very easy. Nobody really gives a shit. Yeah, right. UST, there you go. Road trips are real simple. If you're at hotels and your car's not packed full, either pick nice hotels in nice areas or make sure you unload everything into your room at night. You don't want to leave a packed car out there, especially if your windows aren't tinted and stuff and they can see good stuff in there. Good chance to come out to a broken window in an empty car. But, thankfully, I'm an old man now. I don't have to stay at the $40 a night flea bag hotels in the ghetto. I can afford to stay at decent mid-level Hampton Inns and relatively nice areas. So, when you're a kid, you're sleeping at rest stops. You're getting the shittiest hotels you can because money's tight. And it's one of the nice things about getting older. You can actually live a little more higher quality life generally, which is good because it hurts to sleep in cars and things when you get older. But yeah, all right. Well, thanks for stopping in, Sean and Reckless. We're both tired, and I think we pretty much covered everything. I think I'm tired, so I probably missed a couple points I wanted to talk on, but whatever. And hopefully the guys who watch tonight, maybe ladies, who knows, probably just guys, but maybe a lady in there, they watch tonight or watch in the future. I hope this helps. And if you were nervous about traveling with stuff, hopefully that gets you over that hurdle and you realize it's not a big deal. You just got to prepare, know a few things. It's easy.
Yep.
So good night, y'all. And we will see you next Thursday.
Yep. Good night, guys.